Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
Sickle cell excuse for cops killing blacks. Now, we recently heard about the cops killing the brother in North Carolina, and recently coming out with the Ronald Green incident. Here's an article from Yahoo News, May 15th, 2021. How a genetic trait in black people can give the police cover. Cover for what? To abuse and kill black people. See, we got bigger fish to fry in my community. See, we've been through and still going through idiots trying to attack us just because we black. Especially now we live in a neighborhood. They act like they can tell us what to do and where to go because they don't know who we are and never seen us before.
Go away right now.
Call the police.
Hey, they've already been called. They're just waiting.
Picking fights with who?
You know what? Maybe you should hang on a little longer. We'll see how it goes. Then we won't have to get the report by ourselves.
What is it you're doing here?
Walking.
Then walk.
Okay, that's what I was doing in our house.
Well, you've been here like 15 minutes now.
Let's go. Walk away.
Keep walking.
Walk away.
I already walked away.
Walk away right now. You need help?
You got this in front of you.
I'm happy to help you.
You already
I didn't hit you. There's a difference between
Pretty sure
pushing
you were
you.
the aggressor, buddy.
You're aggressive on their neighborhood.
Someone came running.
Walk back.
You better walk away. You walk away. You talking to my wife right now.
That's your wife?
Walk away.
I didn't do
Walk
anything.
away.
Your wife to speak.
Check it out. You either walk away or I'm going to carry your ass out of here.
Dude, if you touch
What do you want to do?
You better not touch me.
Or
I'm not
what?
arguing.
What are you going to do?
You up on me.
Let's go. Walk
I'm not
away.
arguing. I didn't do anything to you.
I'm about to do something to you. You better start walking.
I didn't do anything to her.
You better start walking
So
right
when you
now.
come after me like that,
I ain't coming after
you're the one in the
you.
wrong.
You're in the wrong neighborhood, motherfucker. Get out.
I live here, sir.
Get out.
I live here, sir.
Where? Where's your house? What's your address?
Maybe we should walk you home.
You can't walk me home.
Well, you bet. You want to bet what I can do?
I live here, sir.
Okay,
Right
what's
now,
your
you're
address?
harassing the
I'm
neighborhood.
not harassing anyone walking through the neighborhood I live in, sir.
Where? 'Cause check it out. We are a tight-knit community.
Okay.
We
How
take
long
care
have
of
you
each
been
other.
here? How long
A
have
hell of
you
a
been
lot
living
longer than your ass, because I have never seen you before in my
How long
life.
have you been living here?
That's
Why
none
does
of
that
your
even
business.
matter to you?
How long have you been
It
living
doesn't
here?
matter. You know what? Get the hell out of my face.
You've been
Get out of my
here.
face.
You walked up to me.
Check it out, motherfucker. I ain't playing with you. You either get your ass moving or I'm going to move you.
You smell drunk.
You want to bet?
You are drunk.
I'm about to show you what I can do.
I would suggest that
You better walk away. Walk away. Walk away.
I'm walking. You keep following me, sir.
There's only one way out of here. And it's right over there.
There's multiple ways out of here, sir.
You want to bet? Walk away.
Man, if you don't sit your behind down, put your hand on me, I'm take a bottle and bust you upside the head with it. This is Yahoo News. This ain't Fox News. This ain't MSNBC. When they carried the body of a 32-year-old black man named Lamont Perry out of the woods in Waynesboro, North Carolina. Now, you know something right there. You know that's redneck territory. Well, I don't want to diss all rednecks because, not all southern white people are not racist. But you got a whole bunch of them are. But Waynesboro, North Carolina, that's one of them towns. It probably used to be a sundown town. There were no protesters over his sudden death in police custody. Why? Because most people probably never heard of it. No reporters camped at the scene. No lawyers filed suit. Instead, the final mark in the ledger of Perry's life was made by a state medical examiner who attributed his death in large part to sickle cell trait, a genetic characteristic that overwhelmingly occurs in black people. Now understand this, it don't well occurs in black people. Most black people don't have sickle cell. Sickle cell is a rarity. So they're going to try to paint this like every person got a sickle cell trait in them. Every black person don't have a sickle cell trait in them. They always try to paint us as a victim of anything concerning sickness and disease. We going to get the worst of it. It's that lie they tell you all the time. We're the highest in this. We're the highest in blood pressure. We're the highest. Man, everybody got blood pressure from the food that we eat. Black people can't do over 2,000 milligrams of sodium. White people can. Black people better not do over 1,500 or 1,000. 1,000 because you're gonna have a stroke. They always paint us to be the victims or paint us to be inferior, and we ain't taking that no more. The official word was that he had died by accident. But the examiner's determination belied certain facts about that night in October 2016 now. We talking about something that happened in 2016. Public records and interviews showed accused of violation probation in a misdemeanor assault case, Perry was chased by parole and police officers through the dark into a stand of trees where only they could witness what happened next. That's why, folks, when you are being accosted by the police officers, you do have a right in majority of the states to put your blinker on and drive somewhere where there are other people are to your safety. Don't let nobody send you somewhere where nobody can see you, because all hell is going to happen to you. He had swelling of the brain, and the forensic investigator reported that he had an open fracture of his right leg. He was covered in dirt, and residents of a nearby housing complex told his family that when the officers emerged from the woods, their shoes and the bottom of their pants were spattered in blood. What kind of beatdown would you get for your shoes and your pants to be spattered in blood? See, we can't say we going through the same thing. We're not. Sad you're going through that, but we going through far, far more worse. Perry case underscores how willing some Americans pathologists have been to rule in custody deaths of black people accidents or natural occurrence caused by sickle cell trait, which is carried by 1 in 13 blacks according to their statistics, and I still don't believe that. And is almost always benign. Those with the traits have only one of the two genes required for full-blown sickle cell disease, a painful and sometimes life-threatening condition that can deform red blood cells into crescent shapes that sticks together and block blood flow. As recently as August, lawyers for Derek Chauvin, the Minneapolis police officer convicted last month of murdering George Floyd, invoked sickle cell trait in an unsuccessful motion to dismiss the case against him, saying that the conditions along with other health problems and drug use was the reason why he died, Floyd. The New York Times has found at least 46 other instances over the past 25 years. You realize how many black people died on the hands of cops in 25 years? It's way more than 46. "25 years in which medical examiners, law enforcement officials, or defenders of accused officers pointed to the trait as a cause of major factor in deaths of black people in custody. 15 such deaths has occurred since 2015. And roughly 2/3 of the guys, let me stop for a second. There is still no excuse for you to physically abuse a person in custody. And roughly especially if you know this person. This guy was on parole. The parole officer knew this guy. This parole officer must have knew that he had sickle cell and should have approached him in a different manner. That's why when you are about to accost somebody that has a mental or physical condition, you need to have somebody that specializes in that. Those people need to be working in the police department, and this should be in the George Floyd bill, that goes out on the scene with them dealing with those type of people. In roughly 2/3 of the case, the person who died had been forcefully restrained by authorities, pepper sprayed, or shocked with stun guns. Again, 2/3 of the case of the person who died had been forcefully restrained by authorities, pepper sprayed, or shocked with a stun gun. Scattered across 22 states and Puerto Rico. In big cities and small towns, the determination on sickle cell traits often created enough doubt for officers to avert criminal and civil penalties, the Times found. Casey K. Singleton, a 30-year-old landscaper and father of four, was walking in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in October 2009 when two officers approached him because they thought his clothing resembled that of an armed robbery. Man, I've been accused of that. The lamest excuse. A doctor's office got broke into in Petersburg, Virginia. They arrested me because I fit the description of the suspect. You know what the description of the suspect was? Blue jeans and a t-shirt. Man, it was the 90s. It was NWA. Everybody had blue jeans and a t-shirt and a Oakland Raiders hat. And they ended up letting me go. But they did abuse me before letting me go. Put me on a hot car, face down, right on a hot car. Black brother right there allowing them to do this stuff to me. My face burning. I'm begging them. I'm squirming because of the heat of the car being so hot. And they saying I'm resisting arrest. No, I'm trying to get off this hot car. Records show they chased him into the apartment complex, shocked him with a stun gun, beat him with a baton. The coroner cataloged a slew of injuries, including abrasions, laceration, and broken teeth, but said the manner and cause of the death was undetermined, citing probable sickle cell trait. The officers were not charged. Army Sergeant James Brown, get on the good foot James Brown, had completed 2 tours in Iraq, figures, and was struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder in July 2012 when he turned himself into the El Paso, Texas jail to serve a 2-day sentence for drunken driving. Authorities said he became violent and he died after 5 jailers in the riot gear piled atop him, pulled the mesh mask over his head, and bound him in a chair. The medical examiners ruled that he had died a natural death caused by sickle cell crisis, and the grand jury declined to bring charges. Gamil Brown, a 30-year-old property maintenance supervisor, cut his hand on a broken mirror at his home in a Baltimore suburb in January last year, prompting the call to 911. The police who responded said he became extremely combative, and they jolted him several times with a stun gun. After he died at a hospital, the medical examiner said that the manner of his death was undetermined and that it was caused in part by sickle cell trait. The state attorneys filed no charges. In 3 cases, death links to sickle cell traits that were deemed natural or of indeterminate cause were later ruled homicide, as occurred when Martin Lee Anderson, 14, teenager, died at the hand of his jailers at a Northwest Florida juvenile detention camp in January 2006. You can't put the blame on sickle cell trait when there is a knee on the neck, or when there is a chokehold, or the person is hog-tied, said Dr. Roger Mitchell Jr., former chief medical examiner for the District of Columbia and now chair of pathology at Howard University College of Medicine. You can't say, well, he's fragile. No, that becomes homicide. Not every death that is tied to the condition is inherently questionable, Medical experts said sickle cell trait has caused death in rare cases of extreme overexertion, especially among military trainees and college athletes. 3 of the in-custody deaths identified by the Times involved people who were exercised vigorously in jail yards or running hard before they collapsed. And law enforcement officers said that at most they put handcuffs on them. In none of the deaths examined by the Times did the person have actual sickle cell disease. Go figure. Though there were instances when imprecise language by medical examiners left the false impressions the trait and the disease were the same. So you can't even trust the medical examiners. Dr. James Gill, no relationship to Johnny, chief medical examiner in Connecticut and president of the National Association of Medical Examiners, said that pathologists would not be doing a thorough job if they identified sickle cell trait and failed to mention it in their report. We know that this is the right situation, can cause death, and you can't just ignore that, said Gill, who cited the trait in the autopsy of Lashano Gilbert, a 31-year-old black man who had died in police custody in October 2014. Gilbert, who had attended medical school, suffered a psychotic episode in New London, Connecticut, and was arrested after jumping on a passing car. His jailers put him in restraint, used pepper spray and stun gun on him, and fit him with a mask to prevent biting. Gill ruled the death a homicide, though the state attorneys deemed the use of force appropriate and filed no charges. In interview, Mitchell and other medical examiners agreed that the trait warranted mention in autopsies, but said any natural or accidental death attributed to it, even in part, should be scrutinized if the person died during or after a struggle with law enforcement. Many said they suspected some sickle cell determination might reflect a pattern of bias or conflict of interest among medical examiners and police officials. Forensic pathologists and doctors who conducted the autopsy for coroners and medical examiners were singled out in a hotly disputed study published in the Scientific Journal in February, suggested that the racial bias could influence their ruling, though it did not address the sickle cell trait. Now, you guys get some time, you go over this. This is pretty long. All right, you look it up. It basically said you cannot use sickle cell trait to determine most of these deaths amongst blacks, even though they are going to try. You, as a family member, must refute it and get a second opinion, third opinion, or whatever to prove that it wasn't the health of your child or your husband or whoever your loved one is that died by the hand of the police, but it was police overreach. Now, since we're on that subject, let me go ahead and say this. These people keep making excuses for them getting away with killing us. See, some people over here focusing on a freaking cartoon. Man, we've been dealing with cartoons all our lives, and we got to the point where it don't even bother us no more, man. What did you do? You did a cartoon, a racist cartoon. It happens all the time. Shame on the publication. Shame on the person who wrote them. They should be fired. But you don't use that as a symbol to try to muster up sympathy votes or support because you're losing in the poll. And I think that's what this is concerning Andrew Yang. You can think whatever you want to. This is what I think. These people out here are intentionally trying to harm black people. And this needs to stop. Which brings me on to this point. I want to talk about this and then I'm done. Because this hurts me to see this. Now, we knew George Floyd did what he could to let the cops know that he were nervous. Let him know that he gets paranoid. He told the cops that, look, I got anxiety issues.
Let me see your hands.
Damn, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand.
Please, Miss Officer.
Both hands.
I didn't do nothing.
Put your fucking hands up right now. Let me see your other hand.
All right. What I do though? What did we do?
Put your hand up there.
Man, I got shot the same way, Miss Officer, before.
Okay, well, when I say let me see your hands, you put your fucking hands up.
I'm so sorry, Miss Officer.
Step out and face away. Step out and face away.
Okay, Miss Officer, please don't shoot me. Please, man.
I'm not going to shoot you. Step out and face away.
I'm looking you eye to eye, man. Please don't shoot me, man.
I'm not shooting you, man.
Please, man. I just lost my mom, man.
Taking one out.
Hey, you come back. Stay in the car.
I'm sorry, Miss Officer. I get on my knees, whatever. Oh, man.
Stop resisting there.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Sharp on you. I won't do nothing to hurt y'all, Miss Officer. No, sir.
Now you like at home or nothing?
Nothing, Miss Officer. Nothing. Why y'all doing me like that, Miss Officer? Please, crack it doing it for me and stuff, man. I am claustrophobic for real, Miss Officer.
You got him?
Could you please crack it for me? Please.
Yes, I'll
remember my
crack
name.
it.
Stay
I
with me,
will.
man.
I will.
Please stay with me, man. Thank you. God, y'all do me bad, man. Man, I don't want to try to win. I don't want to try to win. I don't want to win. I'm claustrophobic. I'm not a bad guy, man.
Get in the car.
I'm not a bad guy. Man. Oh, but my double. Please, officer. Please,
Sit.
please.
Take a seat. Squad.
I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not going to breathe.
Bro, you like that a heart attack, man. Get in the car.
I know I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Positive, y'all. Breathe. Take a lot of oxygen there. Not so you can't breathe.
Police didn't care. They dug in. Told them that I have issues with claustrophobia. That should have been a signal to get a medical officer there on the scene. You got him in handcuffs, done deal. He's not going nowhere. You don't have to try to put him on his stomach so you can put your knee on his back to push out all the air out of his lungs so he can die, or put a knee on his neck, or to choke him out. He got handcuffs. He's hog-tied by the foot, and he's hog-tied by the hands or handcuffed. He ain't going nowhere. Same thing with any cattle. You can put a cattle, once the cattle is hog-tied, or the pig, or the horse, they're not going anywhere. And that's how they treat us. Just like animals. But we got some folks who want to talk about a cartoon.